Hello, friends. Welcome to Mile High Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Megan. I'm a second generation homeschooler and I like to make homeschooling and homemaking videos that are hopefully encouraging to you in your journey. Today, we're going to plan out the last couple weeks of our first term of second grade. So, as we get started here, one thing that I've learned about myself is that if my planners aren't pretty, I don't like to use them, but I also don't want to suffer the functionality of a planner simply for looks. So, I find that just using colorful pens or washi tape, that kind of thing, certainly helps and makes a difference. Um, Now, in this first term, you might see me flip back and forth between different pages, and I'm actually trying like 4 or 5 different ways to break apart this layout to find what's functional. I think I found what I like, but I just figure we'll try a couple different weeks, a couple different ways, and then see what I end up liking for the rest of the year. So I just kind of have a template going forward for it. I know earlier in the year I had talked about using a day designer planner and I really liked it, but it just was too much all at once, having it be broken down day by day. I ended up not liking that as much as I wanted. So this is actually the same brand, but it's a teacher planner instead. And I like it because it's got enough space that I can add in what's going on in life, our meals for the day, that kind of thing, stuff I need to get done around the house. Also add in my own like weekend layout, that kind of stuff. Eventually, I think it'd be really cool to get one of the like paper planners or an advanced planner. I think those are really cool, but I just can't justify the budget for that when I'm only planning for one student right now. So it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for me to spring for one of those, especially when I can make this work. A lot of the stuff I'm writing down is very repetitious of like, hey, you're doing the same thing in your morning basket every single day. Do you really need to write it down? And probably later on in the year, I won't. But early on, since it's a new routine and a new schedule, I'm wanting to write all of the things down, all of the chores, everything. Even though they're on the same rotation on a regular basis, I still want to write it all down just so I don't forget or accidentally overload one section or another. I even write down the times of our like time blocks at the top, mainly because that's kind of my ideal that every time block would take that much time or less. And so for this first term, I'm actually timing myself each day as we go through, or like timing myself most days, I should say, just to make sure we're actually fitting in that time block and I'm not overscheduling one area or another or putting too much in one subject or another. Really, it's just my way to make sure that I'm not setting myself up for failure. So, I definitely am a huge fan of doing the time blocks and then also timing yourself to make sure you're staying within those time blocks. One of the major time blocks that we have each day is individual work, and this is a chance for my daughter to do some stuff on her own and practice doing things on her own without mom guiding her, that kind of thing. And it also gives me a chance to spend some time with my other two boys because I find if they get their like love tanks filled up with that quality time, they're less likely to interrupt for the rest of school. So that's why I have that in there so they can get some quality time with me. And you can see part of it is correcting her mistakes from the previous day because not that I'm trying to like, oh my gosh, focus on the mistakes, but if you never go back and correct them, you're not going to learn what was wrong and how to fix it. You'll just keep seeing the same mistake. So I'd rather give her the opportunity to make it right as opposed to leave it there and have it just be constantly something of like a struggle for long term. A lot of these subjects, like science, are designed for a different kind of schedule. The science that we use is designed to be used 2 days a week, but I do it 4 days a week, so we split it up a little bit differently. So I just went through the syllabus and marked what I would want her to do each day. Once again, I just kind of plan a little bit at a time. So this first term, we'll see if I'm planning too much for each day or not enough, and see if I need to break it up differently throughout the year. History, I just go through a section at a time. Thankfully, we found some really cool supplement books to put with history this year that I think will be really fun to add in as we're going through, like the Kingfisher Illustrated World History, as well as some DK Eyewitness books that I think will be fun supplements for it as well. One thing I definitely like doing with my planner is using the friction pens, and I do all different colors and stuff like that. You'll see they're very colorful layouts as I do it. And part of the reason is because visually I like to see how much I'm loading something up on. So I try to make sure that anything related to math all gets written in the same color that week, or anything related to language arts all gets written in the same color. That kind of thing, just because then I can just at a glance be like, man, we are spending a lot of time in individual work and on time with mom just on language arts or just on math, or man, science really took over this week. It's got a lot going on with everything. And so that way I can just visually see quickly without having to like read everything and understand all my abbreviations, just like at a glance, decide if a subject seems out of balance compared to those around it. Initially, when I did our curriculum picks for this year, I had said that we were just doing Life of Fred for our math, but you can see here I'm adding in the MBM, stands for Masterbook Math. We're adding in that level 2 as just kind of extra worksheets kind of thing. Right now, I feel like it's working really well. I think it's going to supplement with Life of Fred really well. It's a similar style in that Masterbooks Math follows a story. We're not necessarily following the story part of it, we're just doing the worksheets, but I find it's at a similar place to what Life of Fred is. One thing I did with Logic of English this year is I went through and with each lesson I broke it down into the different headings and stuff that they have, and actually wrote out an entire list so I can see how many subsections are within each lesson throughout the whole year. And then I just counted it up and did the math on approximately how many sections we need to be doing per day to finish the book on time. And I'll probably do a video later about how I kind of break down curriculum for the big year and that kind of stuff. But it's definitely been helpful because then I can go through and make sure I'm not overloading each day as I plan it out. You can see me back there. I was just like deciding as I was writing it how many sections we were going to do each day, because some sections are really light and some are heavier. So I kind of have to do that on a week by week, day by day case. But I also can look at the week and be like, okay, did we do enough this week to make sure that we're not going to be falling behind, and later in the year feel really stressed about it and like feel like we need to catch up or crunch or are under the gun with getting this curriculum done on time. And the last final touch as I wrap up planning for the week and getting the breaks marked and stuff in the calendar is I go back through and double check our calendar, and I realized I had actually forgotten about a day that we had on the calendar already that we were going to be gone for part of it. So that's part of why I use these friction pens, because it makes it very easy to change the plan. So I just add that fun day into the calendar, and then I am kind of rearranging our school so that way, instead of having a fun Friday that week, we're going to have a fun Thursday. And a lot of the stuff that's on Thursday, I moved to Friday, made Thursday a lighter school day so we can still get everything done and not feel stressed, but still go enjoy that fun family time at the picnic and a zoo as well. I know I had done a previous video about how I use these file folders to plan the whole term of school at a time. I'm still doing that. It works well for us. I just get all the printables, copy work, worksheets, everything ready to go, fill in the folder so it's set up and ready for us. And then each week I just pull out the folder as we need it. This year, I'm also doing a kind of 3-ring binder for my daughter, so that way all of her independent work is in there. I put her corrections in there as well as anything that she wants to save. We can put in page savers in the back. So I'll do a video later about how I set those up. So that's ready to go for her each week. But hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. I would love to hear what your planning tips are and how you plan the school year. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.